Did you watch the Sioux game Saturday?
No, I couldn't. But man, they were fun to watch.
They went nuts, man. They were. It was kind of a closer game than you expect.
I know.
All
They
of
scored 9 points in 55 seconds.
It was a boom. It was,
That kid they got from California.
Yeah, Dunlap.
Yeah.
White kid.
He doesn't look like he kind of reminds me of like Robertson.
Yeah, it's got that brain. He actually played at St. John's last year up in New York.
They're a lot more fun to watch than my Mizzou Tigers.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, they are.
And you know, it's a sad thing about it. Their coach will probably be gone after this year.
You know, I hope not.
I hope not. But
well, if you know, he'll certainly have opportunities. You know,
I know.
it's just whether.
I like him.
Oh, I think he's fantastic. Yeah.
he put together a really good group of.
He's, you know, and you know what he did. And everybody hopes for this, but you know, he brought in like 7 or 8 kids, you know, and they all hit. I mean, they were all, you know, everybody brings in 7 or 8 kids, but sometimes they don't, you know, they don't hit. You know.
You can
I like
say it.
what I like about them too is they don't have one superstar. I mean, they have Hopla.
Yeah.
They don't have the guy who's going to score 30 points and then the rest go 5.
You know, they truly have 9 guys that they play a lot, and 8 of them could be their leading scorer that night. You just don't know.
Well, was that Dunlop? Didn't score a point like the game before, and then I watched.
Pardon me?
2 games.
Yeah.
2 games.
Oh.
He had been sick and stuff, but you know, he came in. Yeah, I hope they can keep it up. That'd be awesome.
Sorry, I just.
So this is so confusing because for the public here. Let me bring that back to.
Okay.
All right, we can always go back to this. Beautiful. Okay. So Joe's not going to be here tonight. Patty's on the phone. Hey Patty, can you hear us right now? I hear Terry. They have you muted in the back, I believe.
It's hot in here. It's hot.
Did you have anything to do with this? No, it's a good job. Smart guy. Very nice.
You know Amanda got it.
Oh,
I
Hey, Claire, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Patty, can you hear me?
Beautiful. Yes, we're all good.
Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I can hear you. Okay, I'll
All right,
turn it
good.
back off
Yeah,
for
perfect.
now. Thank you.
Does he want a bigger version?
I can't hear any. Okay, now I can hear you.
We can hear you.
She's up on the screen, isn't she?
Oh,
I'm going to turn my speaker off so you don't get any backflow.
Great.
oh, at least 1 minute.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah.
The slowest.
You good?
Oh, I didn't realize she was
Yes, sir.
texting me. We're there.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, February 9th, St. Charles County Council meeting. We are going to start tonight with our invocation from Henry Durst of Precious Seed Inc., St. Charles, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by me. If you would please stand and remove your caps. Put you in the middle. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Let's just take a minute, first of all, and thank the Lord for what we have. I've lived all over the world, and I'm just so appreciative of this county. And we have these gentlemen and this lady to thank for their work. It just, when you think about all the things they have to become aware of, it really is a job. And I appreciate that and thank the Lord for bringing them to us. The Lord tells us to ask Him for wisdom. He's really clear in His Word. And I found it to be true when I really submit my thoughts and my request to Him for wisdom, especially for what appear to be important decisions. He always comes through it. So I just ask you, Lord, to give these gentlemen and this lady the wisdom they need to continue the precedent that has been set in this county of excellence for just so many things that have been established and have been established. I read today, I've forgotten, since 1811 this county's been in operation. So thank you, Lord, for that, and thank you for this evening in the holy name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Henry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
of the United States,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Please call the roll.
Councilman Swanson.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel. Councilman Hammond.
Here.
Councilman Elam.
Here.
Councilman Hollander.
Here.
Councilwoman York.
here,
Councilman Baker.
Here.
Mr. Swanson.
Yes, I'd like to request to amend the agenda to move resolutions to the first part of our meeting.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? The resolution has moved forward. That gets us to Resolution 2601. Go ahead and,
They gave it to me to read.
aren't you, don't, oh, okay.
Can, but
Ladies and gentlemen, our Director of Elections, Kurt Barr, is here for a very special presentation.
A resolution recognizing Celeste Karam as the winner of the inaugural St. Charles County I Voted election sticker contest. Whereas on July 4th, 2026, our nation will commemorate and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And whereas the St. Charles County I Voted election sticker contest was conceived to mark this momentous occasion in the nation's history. And whereas middle schoolers across the county submitted over 220 designs for stickers with finalists chosen based on creativity and how well they captured the theme of celebrating America's 250th anniversary. And whereas 12 finalists went head-to-head in an online vote to decide which art will appear on the St. Charles County I Voted sticker contest for every election in 2026, starting with the April municipal election. And whereas Celeste Karam from St. Patrick's School in Wentzville, with her striking depiction of an eagle's face set against the hand-drawn American flag, accompanied by text celebrating the vote during America's 250th anniversary year, was selected as the winner. And whereas, in addition to being on the I Vote sticker, copies of Celeste art will be displayed at every polling place in this county, and the giant version will be posted year-round outside the Election Authority's office in St. Peters. And whereas all contest entries will be on display at the Election Authority office this year in the voting area, now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of St. Charles County, Missouri as follows, that St. Charles County Council hereby recognizes and congratulates Celeste Karam as the winner of the inaugural St. Charles County I Voted sticker contest.
Okay, Kurt, I will read it again and we'll vote.
Awesome.
So
Come on up, Celeste.
So resolution number 2601, a resolution recognizing Celeste Karam as the winner of the inaugural St. Charles County I Voted election sticker contest. Councilman Swanson,
Yes.
Councilman Brazel, Councilman Hammond,
Yes.
Councilman Elam,
Yes.
Councilman Hollander,
Yes.
Councilwoman York,
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Congratulations. Let's get a picture. Come on up.
Come on up.
Here, we can all stand up.
Congratulations.
Come on down. There we go.
Thank you.
There you go.
Good job. Congratulations.
Hang on. Celeste. Celeste, do you want to come up and say anything? You don't have to. Oh, you're all good. I wanted to give you the opportunity. So hats off to the election authority and our election authority director for putting this together. This was amazing. To have that many entries was really cool. And Celeste, your artwork is going to be seen by more people than most artists get to see in their lifetime. So congratulations on that, and I wish you the best on your artistic career. This is very cool. So that'll get us back to our regular agenda. We're going to start off with the public hearing of Trailside Farm Community Improvement District.
Rose.
Hats off to Mr. Swanson for moving that up so you didn't have to stay for the meeting.
My name is Rose Zook. Do you need an address?
No, ma'am.
Nope. This is from, if I can get it. The traffic study that was on the agenda packet. If it turns on.
It's up.
It is, okay. Can you actually see where they did the study at? From the Catholic Church to the Lutheran Church, which is less than a quarter mile from one church to the next church. I know they have crash data, but did they only take it from the Missouri Highway Patrol? Did they get all the other municipalities like Winslow, Lake St. Louis? And I'm not sure that I saw that, but there's so much data to look at. Something that the study also talked about was another exit. Oops. This is Perry Kate. This is all the businesses that they're planning on. They required a second egress, and they came back with, right here, right there is Boone Trail High School, Middle School, to do a right-in, right-out. And that looks like this. Here's the stoplight right here. Here's the right-in, right-out. So if this is only a quarter mile from here to here, what is that, an eighth of a mile? So with all the subdivisions that are being built, you have to know there's Harvest that has 328 homes, and I don't have to read them all, but that's a total of 1,900 homes. So we're talking about Autumn Hollow, Harvest, Post Farms, and a new one that's just coming into O'Fallon for Cabello Farms. 1,900 homes, 2 cars per home, talking about almost 4,000 cars daily on that road. Not everybody is going to go up to Highway 40 if they want to go to Winslow. So they're going to go down to 70. Sorry, Z to 70. That's a lot of traffic. when Highway N hasn't even been fixed yet and won't be for 4 or 5 years. We're just asking for better growth decisions and halting, or even not high density with 4 homes per acre. And that was it.
Thank you.
Arnie Dienoff.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate. First of all, I'm shocked, dismayed, not understanding why in the world the Trailside Farm Community Improvement District, formerly known as Menchie Farms, is on the agenda. This is highway robbery, taking advantage of new citizens and new residents to our county or other parts of our county that are not going to have fair and ample notice under the law in Chapter 67.140 through 67.1571 in the creation of a community improvement district. Now, I take cause and action that this council or somebody on staff is alleviating or leaving out vital instruments and vital information that should be disclosed in a transparent fashion to our county as a whole. If you go to other parts of our city or our county, municipalities all give hundreds to thousands of pages of documents, contracts, and information. But no, this county council, for some reason in its purview, decides to keep the information and the petition on file in the county registrar's office rather than attaching, for convenience of our county residents who are here at this public hearing, to see exactly what the petition says, what it entails, how much money they're asking for, how long the duration, and how we're asking on the backs of citizens to pay for vital infrastructure that should be paid by other businesses across our county. They're going to make double profits in this endeavor for Trail Farms, formerly Menchie Farms. And it's an atrocious use of the Community Improvement District process. This process of a Community Improvement District is used for business economic development opportunities where it's hard or there's a hardship or it's impossible to designate and to develop a piece of property with infrastructure with the from funding from a bank or a financial institution for the owner's process. So therefore, they're charging a fee, which is collected by our county collector. Now, it's my understanding there have been amendments in past days or the past week that has not been disclosed to the public, and I feel that the amendment under Chapter 67.142, subsections 5.1 and 5.2, and maybe 5.3, you didn't give ample notice to the public, and therefore this entire community improvement district could be up for administrative judicial review under a writ of mandamus in our St. Charles County 11th Judicial Circuit Court. Now, these owners, for some reason, don't want to pay for the infrastructure out of their own pockets. They're asking for $6.86 million or more, and they're going to put in extra tax that our county collector is going to be mandated to tax $1,550 per year on each residential lot and $5,000 per year for any commercial lots. It looks like they're going to be in business for at least 27 years, which is the maximum allowed by the state statute in Chapter 67 of the revised state statute. Again, this is another tax, another issue. It was tried in O'Fallon, but miserably failed before the city council and went down to defeat by I believe the vote was 1 to 9. And this was in the Cobblestone subdivision owned by McBride's Sons on Missouri Highway P between O'Fallon and Josephsville. This is really abusing the law because they're going to be hiring a financial administrator, they're going to be hiring an administrator of the district, an attorney to the district, Of course, the directors are going to be paid stipends and information, or I'm sorry, stipends and benefits. It's going to pay for engineering and all architects for this endeavor, the roads, the sewers, the water lines, the gas lines, the electric lines, all the electric infrastructure, landscaping, highway improvements required by the County Highway Department and MoDOT, Missouri Department of Transportation, sidewalks, ADA accessibility, green space, water detention and retention, clubhouses, and other amenities. And it's unbelievable that this is being sought out. I understand the sponsor is Joe Brazel, Councilman Brazel. He's not here tonight. I did reach out to Councilman Brazel. Haven't heard back to him why he's sponsoring this for private development on the backs of taxpayers. None of us, when we built our house, none of you, when you built your homes, did the county pay for your foundation, for all your infrastructure, for your water meter tap-in, your sewer tap-in, and all the other tens of thousands of dollars that are needed to build your structure. I believe that this is a sneaky tactic before you as council members, and I ask you to resoundingly defeat this resolution, this ordinance for the creation of a community development district. There are many elements that have not been required, elements that have not been met, such as a 5-year plan. I have not seen that 5-year plan. The estimated cost of all the items that I stated need to be transparent and clearly disclosed to all the members of our community and the county, and specific limitations on borrowing and taxation. The petition may be legally deficient in terms of some of the information. If you look at the definitions under Chapter 67, this is highly uncommon for this to be used in residential districts. I called the state auditor's office, and they can't think of one single source. The only one that came up was one in O'Fallon, and that went down to defeat. The residential collection of a CID, Community Improvement District, has been successful or used across Missouri. It is mostly, according to the auditor's office, in Chapter 67, used for entertainment districts, which would be arenas, amusement centers, auditoriums, athletic facilities, bars, hotels, motels, concert halls, convention facilities, music venues, nightclubs, restaurants, and other entertainment facilities that would generate needed sales tax to run and operate our ever-growing St. Charles County. You know, I could go on and on. I've spoken this afternoon to many members of the General Assembly, both state senators and representatives of our St. Charles County contingent. They're very upset that this county council is entertaining this type of atmosphere, this type of corporate welfare, giving away these type of things on the backs of new residences that aren't going to know and be given fair notice, if at all, being known at the title company that they're going to be responsible for such high assessments that are mandated to be collected by our county collector. If they don't pay those assessments within 3 years, guess what? They're going to lose their property to some venture go-getter that's going to come and swoop in and take their property, just like they take it from senior citizens and disabled at our county tax auctions, our sales that are held in August. I'll tell you what, council members, if this passes and you give this type of corporate welfare to these individuals that want to build this institution or this neighborhood, which is highly controversial, the mayor of Wentzville is highly against it, the aldermen are highly against it, that's why they don't want to annex it, and the traffic study has now become available, I'm going to be really upset, and I'm really going to lose credibility, honesty, and transparency in this council. And I think there's going to be other people who are going to be running for your positions, because guess what? You don't own these positions. They're owned by we, the people. And so I ask that you humbly and kindly turn down Trailside Farm Community Improvement District. They have not met their obligation to ask for another tax, another fee, another collection by the county collector on the county tax bill. It has not been warranted. They have not proved a hardship or where they're going to pay return on investment to our county as a whole in terms of economic development and increased sales taxes and other taxes on behalf of our county. As I said, the state auditor, it has not been used across our state. And if this passes, I may be filing my $130 fee down at the circuit court to file a writ of mandamus against this county council to ask a judge to rescind and negate the approval of the CID, which is taking advantage of residents and citizens of our community in buying their new home. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'll entertain any questions if anybody has any. Thank you.
Sir, next speaker.
Drew Weber.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Drew Weber with Hamilton Weber Law Firm. I'm here on behalf of the applicant and petitioner for the Trailside Farms Community Improvement District. I hear a sound every time I hit the button. Maybe that's not. There we go. All right, I'll use this. So I'd like to start by going through an overview of the property. So the Trailside Farm Community Improvement District is proposed for a future residential subdivision in the county. Now, it's a big property, so in order to make the map more readable, it's flipped on its side. So to orient yourself, Highway N, which is on the north side of the property, is actually on the right side of your picture there. And so the far left is the south side. So the proposed community improvement district for this property is going to help support multiple public improvements and amenities for Trailside Farm. I'm going to detail those throughout this presentation, but I just want to highlight and overview them now. So as you go from the right side, so the north, there's going to be dedicated right-of-way for the future expansion of Highway N. There is a traffic study in your packet, which we'll talk about later in this presentation. And if there are questions about the traffic study, I have Sean White with CBB here to help answer those questions. As you go further south or left on the property, there is a proposed war memorial that we've been in conversations with the Historical Society and other groups to have a war memorial on the site. There's trails throughout the project. As you go even further south, again to the left, at the very far end, you'll see there are multiple sports courts on the property. There's currently a historic red barn on the property, which the goal is to repurpose that, move it to the southern portion near the sports fields and a community garden. So all of these are meant to be amenities and benefits for the residents of Trailside Farm. And then obviously the road improvements and expansion of Highway N is a benefit to the county more broadly. And then the perhaps most significant improvement is the extension of Perry Kate. So Perry Kate Drive it's hard to see there, but it's at the bottom right corner. So Perry Kate Drive currently intersects on the north side of Highway N. So we are adding a fourth leg on the south side of Highway N to eventually connect southeast on the property with the hope of connecting with Deer Road as future parcels develop to provide another point of access to and from this part of the county. All of those things are going to be supported by funding from this community improvement district. So what is a community improvement district? Well, a community improvement district is also known as a CID or a SID. It's a development tool that's created to finance and manage public improvements and services within a specific area. I mentioned some of the improvements that are going to be funded either in whole or in part by this district. Broadly speaking, it includes things like streets, parks, playgrounds, parking, utilities, generally public infrastructure and services. A CID is formed by an ordinance of the county, so that's what's before you tonight for first reading is an ordinance to approve the CID. A petition of the property owners was submitted, and that's a normal process. A petition is submitted and a public hearing is held to form the CID. Now, one of the speakers spoke about taxes. I just want to be clear, there are no taxes that will be imposed by this CID. There's special assessments on the property owners within the district, but no other county residents are going to pay any taxes or any other fees. In fact, this district in its petition doesn't even have the authority to levy taxes. So there will be no taxes. It'll be solely funded by special assessments within the district itself. And it'll be managed by its own board of directors as well. So what are the benefits of the CID? Well, it's a dedicated funding source, so it's a reliable funding mechanism to support the improvements that we talked about previously. There's also local control. As I mentioned, there will be a board dedicated to the management of the CID, the reimbursement and maintenance of the improvements as well. And then the CID offers, in this circumstance, the ability to provide a higher amenities package combined with public improvements than you would see in your traditional subdivision. It's also worth mentioning that this project has a decreased density from what was previously approved. Now, I know there's a separate final plan that's on the agenda tonight, and I can talk about that during public comments, but the original approval for this project was 531 lots, and now we've decreased that to 470, so it's over 60 dwelling unit decrease. As you know, the County Council recently adopted criteria for the approval of a CID. So I wanted to examine each of those criteria to see if Trailside Farm meets those. So the first is there must be a 5-year plan that sufficiently details the CID projects and improvements to be made, and the same are consistent with, will promote, and will be designed to align with the current countywide master plan. Well, there is a 5-year plan. It was attached to the petition. It's in your packet. It's one of the exhibits to the petition. So it was submitted back in December with the petition. So that element is met. Further, the future land use map in the county's master plan identifies this area as low density residential at 1 to 4 units per acre. What we are proposing is approximately 2.16 units per acre. And the extension of Perry Cape Boulevard is consistent with the county's thoroughfare plan of providing an extension south of Highway N through the property. So the first criterion is met. The second criterion is that the 5-year plan must sufficiently detail any proposed special assessment to be levied by the CID, including but not limited to different classes of real property within the proposed boundaries. Well, exhibits C and D to the petition outline the methods of the special assessments. So there's a maximum special assessment for residential property and a separate maximum special assessment for the commercial lots in this district. So that criterion is also met. Third, the CID project will support a vibrant, connected, community-focused development consistent with the current countywide master plan. So vibrant communities. Well, there will be walkable trails and shared public spaces such as sports facilities, a war memorial, playgrounds, community garden that will foster daily interaction among residents and a strong sense of community. Then community-focused development or natural features and trails and improved infrastructure ensure growth is accommodated efficiently while promoting the natural resources and reducing long-term public maintenance burdens. Then lastly, connected communities. Again, there's trails throughout the development, there's transportation and access improvements that will support this housing growth while maintaining efficient connections to employment areas, services, and regional corridors. Now, there's a long list of improvements and amenities that will be supported by the CID. I summarized it briefly here, and we've talked about them in some detail. I just want to reiterate again. Fallen Soldiers Memorial, road and traffic improvements, lakes and water features, a trail network, parks and playgrounds, community garden, relocation of a historic barn, recreational fields, and other infrastructure enhancements. But perhaps the most important part is, again, the roadway and traffic improvements, which we've discussed. The primary access, as I mentioned, is going to be a new connection onto Highway N at Perry Cape Boulevard. Perry Cape will be extended through the Trailside Farm development, and there will be a new right-in, right-out access connected to the commercial parcels along Highway N. And importantly, there are churches on the east and west sides of this property. So Emmanuel Lutheran of Wentzville is on the east side, and St. Gianna Catholic Church is on the west side. Currently, both of those churches connect directly onto Highway N, but now we're going to have a cross-access connection that they will both be able to access to Perry Kate at the signalized intersection on Highway N, which is important for obviously morning and evening rush hour, but specifically school pickup and drop-off for those schools. The traffic study, I'd like to read a part of the traffic study that specifically talks about those enhancements, because I do think it's important. This traffic study was conducted in January, so recently, and focused on morning and school dismissal and evening. So all the relevant time frames for this stretch of Highway N when all of those schools open, close, and then during normal rush hour. So the traffic study found that providing a cross-access connection from the Emmanuel Lutheran School to the signal at Perry Kate Boulevard provides significant improvements to the delay for patrons exiting the school. Additionally, the delay along Route N would be improved if the left turn movements at the school drive were shifted to the signal at Perry Kate. The provision of cross-access to the signal for adjacent churches is expected to significantly improve operations on Sunday during service times. And in fact, the approaches at all the intersections were to improve, and most of them will be at the levels of service in the 2030 build conditions. So in short, this CID will be a good tool, we believe, to finance and manage the public improvements and the amenities for this development. Again, the amenities proposed here are beyond what you see in normal subdivisions, and that is in part because of the enhancements of the CID. I'm not going to name the improvements again. We've mentioned them multiple times, but they are listed there, and we would ask that you approve the Trailside Farms Community Improvement District. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And again, I have Sean White with CBB, and then also Caroline Saunders, who's the attorney for the district.
Mr. Baker.
Drew, did you mention how much the total SID was going to be? Did you?
I did not, but I have that estimate. If you give me 1 second. It may take more than 1 second. The estimated cost as of the date of the petition is $6,855,274.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Elman.
May I inquire, Mr. Weber?
Yes, sir.
No TIF, right?
Correct.
No Chapter 100?
Correct.
No Chapter 353?
Correct.
Okay, and the previous criticisms we heard are of taxpayers funding development. And the county's problem with all three of those has always been the fact that we don't get to decide. Somebody else gets to decide and to take future revenue and fund this. Okay?
Right.
I think the last year I was in the legislature, I supported this whole CID concept. And the idea was to help develop it, but not to take future revenue from all the other jurisdictions.
Right.
And not to just have the taxpayers, pay for some of these improvements,
Right.
but to allow the people that live there, that own it and develop it, and later the people who buy the lots, they are the ones being taxed. You suggested,
Right.
there's no tax revenue. It's an assessment.
That's
And
correct.
it's assessment on only the people that live there, not the people that that visit there. Just the people live there, or I don't even think, is there a sales tax element?
Nope, there's no
There's
sales tax at all.
Not even a sales tax, because,
Nope.
you could have asked, if you had a commercial there, you could have asked for the people who shop there to pay.
Right.
So the only people paying for this are the people who own it now or will own the individual lots later.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure everybody's understood that.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. Next speaker.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak for the public hearing? It's the final speaker.
Oh, come on up.
Good evening, Kenton Marsh. I'm a Wentzville resident.
Can you slide over to that middle one? Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Kenton Marsh. I'm a Wentzville resident, county. St. Charles County resident, not City of Wentzville, sorry, but I believe I'm the second largest continuous landowner to this property. I've seen a lot of developments from here all the way to Wentzville happen in this county, and I wish they all looked as nice as the diagram that we saw up there. Almost every lot backs up to green space. They're not sandwiched in there like postage stamps. And if I have to have this as my neighbor, I'm loving it. Water features, trails all over the place, leaving plenty of woods. And if I have to pick a neighbor, I'm happy with this. So there's a lot of people speaking against it, but you can take a drive out I-70 and you can see it could be a lot worse. This is actually a beautiful layout. So I'm here to give thumbs up. A lot of my neighbors have said the same thing because there's another alternative and we're getting the best side of it. So I just wanted to make that public. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Okay. Any other speakers?
After hearing the applicant, I have some additional information and testimony.
You've already spoken, so you don't get a chance to come back.
Should have, by state law, you should have had the applicant at the beginning present his presentation.
Yes, ma'am, you're up.
67 states.
Good evening. My name is Becky Hoskins. I am a resident of St. Charles County. I'm speaking on behalf of Emmanuel Lutheran Church and School in Wentzville at 632 Northeast Highway N. The development in question is to our west of our property. My husband, Dan, and I are members of Emmanuel, and I presently serve as chair of the board of directors of Emmanuel Lutheran Church and School. This development plan, as you've heard, will add a lot of safety features for our church and school. We have over 550 students that are dropped off and picked up each and every weekday. And we have 1,650 members that attend our 4 weekend services, and in addition are on our campus for various activities during the week. So it has been a safety concern for us that we only had one entrance and exit to our property. And this development will allow us to access Perry Kate Boulevard South so that our people can get to the new stoplight intersection that has been spoken about. On behalf of Emmanuel Lutheran Church and School, I strongly support this development.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Did you want to come speak, ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Mary Chapman. I live almost catty corner to this development that's going to happen. From what I just, maybe you guys, I don't know if you comment, but I don't quite understand what they are trying to do.
So we're talking about the Community Improvement District. That's what this hearing is about. Not
Right.
the development as a whole, but the
Right.
Community Improvement District is what this hearing is.
So there would be not a tax, but some kind of assessment on each property within this community. That-
Only within that community.
And how are these people that are buying these properties going to be, I guess, notified of this tax? Because it would happen at
Should
closing?
be in their title report.
It should be in their title work. It
So
should be.
we can ask the attorney about that when we get to the bill.
Okay. So is this totally necessary at this point? Is this another cart before the horse kind
The
of
hearing
thing?
is part of the process.
It's part of the process, but is this something that needs to happen now? As far as the CID goes?
The
Not
CID
as far
has-
as the development goes. The development's a whole different issue, right?
Yes.
We're talking about the CID right now.
Correct.
Is this something that can be tabled until everything is figured out as lawful and truthful as far as this development goes, as far as their applications, times, and et cetera, all the details that go with that?
This is the public hearing. This is a chance for you to speak, for the public to speak.
Okay, so I'm here to ask you, as our representatives, to, instead of being steamrolled by attorneys again and groups of people that are out here trying to make money, and I know that everybody wants to make money, that's obvious, but I'm just trying to, I'm concerned that why does everything have to go so fast? Why can't we take one subject, and let the people within this community decide whether they want to do this or vote on this and vote on their fees? I mean, you're going to have all this land that is going to be supposedly taken care of, and I've seen this happen before, as it did in Darting Prairie. It never went anywhere. So, and I had a property in Darting Prairie, but I'm across the street from this almost, right across from the Catholic Church. And I think this is going to be a real problem because, number one, we've got people that are potentially going to be losing their jobs because of all the new data centers coming up. And how are they going to be able to afford these big fancy houses with all these fees? I mean, we're building 1,900 new homes and down the road from me. Is it going to be like Arizona, where it's going to be a dry community where there's empty houses, communities of empty houses? I mean, this is what needs to be looked at. And I mean, we're up here doing this fancy thing. I think it's a challenge. I think it's a challenge to do the right thing instead of feeding into the money makers or the money whatever takers. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Tom Ruff. I'm also a representative of Emmanuel Lutheran, as is Becky. I just wanted to mention a couple of other points. I want to reiterate the fact of the safety and the getting all those cars in and out. You know, the 550, kids both morning and afternoon. A lot of vehicles coming in and out. We've got a lot of elderly members of the congregation as well. Nothing is more challenging than trying to turn left out of that property. So with regard to this approval this evening, the one other thing that I'd like to point out is in addition to the road development, which is critical for us, the utility improvements that will occur are also very important for us. We're currently surviving, I would say, on a very large septic system. Not a very attractive thing to have right in the middle of our county. We would like to see that development up from Duckett Creek allow us to tap into that as well. So believe all of this is consistent, and we also feel that this is the quality of development we would like to see have developed next to us. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, and we strongly support this.
Thank you, sir. Last call for speakers. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on the Trailside Farms Community Improvement District. That gets us to public comment, which I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot of what we just heard. So with public comments, obviously we would ask that you turn in a card to the ladies up front. The clock in front of Mr. Swanson has 3 minutes on it. You are allowed to speak for those 3 minutes. At the end of the 3 minutes, I will thank you for your time, and we will move on to the next speaker. I would also encourage you, if the speaker in front of you pretty well laid out the comments that you would like to say, it's great to just say ditto. Your comments will be reflected in the record. So our first speaker is?
Sorry. Becky Hoskins.
I waive my right to speak.
Thank you, Becky.
Sean White.
I'll wait also.
We're burning through this.
Arnie Dienoff.
I bet he's not waving. Was caught up in the FanDuel of the Super Bowl, man. I shouldn't have said that. My bad.
Hearing before the State House on personal property tax reduction and fairness of collection of our taxes. It's in the Ways and Means Committee of the House. Good evening once again. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, County Public Advocate, running for County Executive this August. I was going to speak about censorship of this council on St. Charles County TV and the fraud, deception, and personal use of county assets of a former captain and former manager of our county police department, in which Joe McCullough, the county prosecutor, has not been made aware of these actions or issues. Am I supposed to stop?
Nope. Keep going.
actions or issues with the because embezzlement, fraud was done, and it needs to be presented to a grand jury. I'll be speaking that probably at the next meeting, but I need to shift my issue here. And that issue is sidewalks, trails, water detention, basic infrastructure that every other developer and home builder across St. Charles County paid for is wrong for this developer to have twice the amount of profits. Number one, Chapter 67, and anybody can look it up, of the revised state statutes. You could talk to Director Trish Vincent, the Missouri Department of Revenue, and ask her about community improvement districts. By a vote of those directors, they can impose a 1% sales tax on that district. And so this is just corporate greed and corporate welfare. And then I want to talk about the bill for introduction, the preliminary plat. We're trying to cram as many homes as we possibly can in a small amount of space. Every week, there's 30 to 50 residents that move into new residences on the Missouri Highway N corridor, which is the largest, the busiest developed corridor in the state, without the safety improvements that aren't going to be coming until 2030, 2031. It's ludicrous that we keep putting and jeopardizing people's lives, people's public safety, pedestrians, bicyclists, and we keep trying to cram development after development after development, and we're unlike Johnson County, Kansas, in further thinking, future thinking, where you provide the infrastructure before the building of homes and businesses. This preliminary plat on October 15th of last year was a 3-3 vote of the Planning and Zoning Commissioners. I'm not sure how you voted, Councilman Baker, Commissioner Baker, but I would ask that this council deny this preliminary plat.
Thank you, Mr.
It's too much for the
your
property.
comments.
Thank you.
Hold on a second. Mr. Elman?
Well, I was going to raise a point of order because I thought you'd closed the hearing on the CID, but he got off it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was.
We did close the hearing, but it is still public comment.
The only reason I brought it up was because the applicant brought
You're
forward
done, Mr. Deanoff.
more
Thanks for coming and
information.
speaking. Our next speaker is?
Rose?
Hello again.
Hi.
I find it strange that a development that was originally came in 2010 with a PUD expired 1 to 2 years after that they're still going with it. And the CID wasn't even added to or talked about at the P&Z for the Trailside Venture Farms. It's brand new. We were really shocked by it when I saw it on the agenda. And I agree that whoever comes in and lives in that subdivision will get taxed. And if they're disclosed that in the beginning, that you will always be taxed, and it's going to be like some places for tax rebatements, it's going to be more than 5 years for the development and whoever goes and lives and buys their houses there. Back to the PUD, why was it approved when it was already expired? And why didn't we make, or the P&Z or the council, make them go back over and do it again and present new information? They were forced to go out and do a traffic study. I hopefully think that was because of the residents was asking for it and the council was asking for it. And there's still issues with the study and where the people are coming in and out of the road, which has changed from one drawing to the next drawing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Was the final speaker.
Final speaker. Now we're up to the oral report.
Mr. Chairman, I did submit a card. Did I identify?
Okay, that's fine.
I apologize for interrupting.
It's all good. Thanks for pointing it out.
Again, I'm Drew Weber with Hamilton Weber. I'm here on behalf of the applicant.
Hold on.
Oh.
Can you restart that? Go.
Okay. Drew Weber with Hamilton Weber, here on behalf of the applicant. I wanted to spend a couple minutes to talk about the final plan, since the zoning wasn't really at issue in the public hearing, and there was, I think, some comments and confusion in the crowd. So in 2010, this property was zoned as a PUD, planned unit development. And it obviously has not been developed yet, but then that PUD was reapproved or extended in 2025. So now the final plan is the next step in that process. The original proposal, as I said earlier, was for 531 dwelling units. Now we're at 470. So the density, the approved density, is 61 dwelling units higher than what's being proposed today. And I mean, that is part of the reason for the CID. In exchange for reduced density, in conversations with Councilman Brazel, we are proposing more amenities. So you don't normally see things like war memorials or large sports fields in subdivisions. You may have small playgrounds, but you don't see the extent of amenities that you see here. And so that's reflected on the final plan. And so we are asking that the final plan be approved tonight. It is consistent, again, less dense than what was proposed in 2010. I also wanted to mention, I think someone asked, or I think the church talked about utilities. The Duckett Creek has provided a will serve letter, so there will be normal public utility connections to this project. And I know that Emmanuel Lutheran Church is excited about that, and we are as well. I want to again mention that if there's any questions, I have Dave Voles with Voles Engineering, Sean White with CBB, the applicant here as well. So when it comes time for the bills for introduction, if you have questions about the zoning or the CID, we're happy to answer those questions. And I also have answers to some of the questions people raise about the CID, which I'm happy to address when you do the bill for introduction.
Thank you. Now, to the county executive for the oral report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a little bit different approach here, but I was wondering if we could get the lady from Emmanuel to come up for just a minute. I have a question for her. Thank you, ma'am. I'm not trying to put you on the spot here.
That's all right, sir.
But totally has nothing to do with this project, at least not directly. A lot of talk about the traffic on Highway N, and what I'm told is it's just a real problem when school opens, and then again when school closes. And my question is, have the public schools and the Catholics and the Lutherans, have you thought about sitting down and maybe staggering your times a little bit differently, so that might ease that problem somewhat?
It sounds like a good idea. I do not know if that conversation has taken place.
I'll volunteer my office if you need a place to be.
All right, I certainly will suggest it because I think it's a good suggestion.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a while before things get better.
Yes, it will.
And our children are in jeopardy. They really are.
And we also have, with the Gateway green lights, we have control of the light there at Z. And I was talking to someone before the meeting. If there's something that we can change that during certain times of the day to make it better, we need to know about that too.
Right, that would be very helpful.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I was going to give my annual report. We usually do the individual directors' reports at the second meeting, so I'm going to go ahead and do it today if that's okay.
Let's go.
All right. Okay, as all of you know, and for the benefit of those in the audience and listening at home, the county charter requires the county executive to make an annual report each year, just on everything that went on last year, and that's what we're going to try to do here. One of the big highlights, I think, last year is we finalized all the governance planning and accepted the $50 million that the state has set aside for this regional police training facility. It's due to the cooperation of St. Louis County, St. Charles County, Jefferson and Franklin counties. And things are moving forward. I want to thank Brian Ludwig for all the work that he's done on this, as well as Joanne has been working on it before Brian got here. I'm very optimistic that this thing is going to move quickly and be a great accomplishment. And what I'm really hoping is we can use this as an example to do other things regionally. You know, instead of everybody going on their own and duplicating services and so forth, maybe there's other things we could do that would save the taxpayers money. You all are familiar with the Wetlands Park that we're doing in cooperation with the Great Rivers Habitat Alliance. It's a migratory bird refuge. It's down here between Highway 370 and the Mississippi River, I guess in the city of St. Charles or near it. And this is, we're currently doing some engineering for the facilities, but this is going to be a place where people can be educated about conservation, where they can be educated about proper hunting, and they can also, when we're not in season, enjoy the beautiful scenery there. This is, you know, I'm looking forward to the spring. When the birds are flying in the fall, we won't be in there. The hunters will be in there. But in the spring, when they go back, you have the same opportunity to go out there, and we're going to be doing the usual amenities we do in our park, including trails, so people can enjoy that. City Hall acquisition, I think it's a good deal for the city and for us. The $18 million that we're probably going to have to spend on renovation is cheap compared to what it would cost to build a building from scratch with this many square feet. Court expansion, unfortunately, we grow in population, so does the population in our jail, the cases that have to be tried in our courts. And you know, we're getting bids for 2 more courtrooms before we have to actually move courtrooms out of the courthouse into the city hall, up into the prosecutor's office, and the prosecutor moves across the Adams Street to, no, not Adams, Monroe, across Monroe Street to the city hall. Give these crimes, and you know, I give this every year, and then I take it on the road and go to a lot of Kiwanis and chamber events, and if any of you would like to take this, again, on the road in your district, please let us know. It's available. It's all good news. You can see that every year vehicle crime has gone down. Went down 24%. Last year, it's not as good as the year before. It went down 43%, but it's moving in the right direction. Still work to do. Major crimes, all but one are down. It's up just a little bit. That's unfortunate, but again, generally good news. And regional crime rates, again, when you compare us to the other jurisdictions in the region, you know, we're the lowest. We have been, I think, just about every year except 2015. But anyway, I guess when I look back, I'm surprised ours was that high 5 years ago. But boy, it's going lower every year, and thanks to the great job that our police department and all the other municipal departments in the county do to keep those numbers low. I don't understand why this thing isn't responding. Jail expansion, as I said, got more people and we've got more crime. You also, I think, realize that at least when it comes to car thefts, about 70% of the people we arrest for stealing cars aren't from St. Charles County. But we have to have room for them in the jail. It's been a real challenge for us, and that's why we are taking most of the money that we got from the federal government through ARPA and spending it on our jail. In 2026, we're finishing a mental health and substance abuse units. We're also taking a lot of money from our opioid settlement for that particular project. We're renovating 4 more existing units. We've got 1 that's been done. And then we'll have a maximum capacity about 573. You compare that to St. Louis County, we're about 40% as large in population. I think we'll have about the same percentage difference in beds. 911 dispatch upgrades. Again, we've been talking about this for a long time. We tried to get some additional money from the state, but that was unsuccessful. So the cities and the counties are paying for it. Again, for the folks at home, 911 used to be funded by a tax on your landlines. Okay, on a landline in your house. And there's some young people around here may not know. Well, I don't see too many. They all left, right? But the kids that left, probably, well, yeah. Do you remember landlines? Okay. So the landlines are gone. So the counties basically had to step in and spend general revenue to do 911. But I think this is probably the most important service that the county provides. And we're going to be there with what's needed. Kinetic Park, beautiful park. Still doing new things each year. I think we have a new skate ramp, playground, indoor climbing gym, several things. Heritage Center, story in the paper a couple weeks ago, we're turning the barn there into basically a study area for where the library district can store its books on local history and also make available all it has for people who want to do genealogy. And we're going to have a state-of-the-art facility there, and we do it in cooperation with the library district. One of our library members of the library board is here, Penny Hankey, and Penny, we're looking forward to working with you all on that. Spring Bend Park is the next park that's going to be open. That's right there when you go over the Page Avenue Bridge headed towards St. Louis. It's the last piece of property on the right between Upper Bottom Road and the Katy Trail. It's going to be it's mainly in its natural state. They have a lot of walkways and paths and even some bridges through that natural area. Have a good scenic view of the Missouri River. And I think people are going to really enjoy it. How do we stack up? Well, we're making progress. You know, I tell the story every year about how my goal is to have the same amount of acres per residence as St. Louis County. And we keep getting more acres every year, but we also keep getting more people. But as you can see, we're pretty close. People are anxiously awaiting the I-70, the third lane. You don't read much about it in the St. Louis media or hear much about it in the St. Louis media, I guess because it really is not going to make much of a difference in downtown St. Louis, but it's going to make a big difference in St. Charles County and Warren County and all points west. Saying for a long time that St. Louis is the gateway to the west, but if you want to go west from St. Louis, you got to squeeze under a railroad track on 2 lanes of traffic. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it takes you 45 minutes or so. Route in corridor, obviously that's the area where this development, which we've been talking about so far today, this is what it looks like today on the left side, except there's probably a lot more cars. That must be a pretty old picture. I don't know. It might be tough to find a picture like that today where there's the nearest car is a half mile away. But on the right is what we want to see out there, and we don't want to see another Highway K. Now, it's not a criticism of Highway K, but Highway K used to look exactly like Highway N. And then O'Fallon, I don't know, MoDOT was involved, I guess, and they came in and did a 5-lane road, and now we've got, you know, hundreds of driveways, which makes it difficult for traffic to move. We want to go ahead and widen and have better access, but we want to keep moving. Probably have mostly right in, right out. If we have any businesses, it'll be at the intersections with the crossroads, if at all. And a lot of that is because with more people shopping from home, we don't need another Highway K right now. Whether that's good or bad depends on whether you're a small business owner or not. David Hochul Parkway, continue to work on that. That's going to be basically a circumferential highway. When you take Highway 61, Highway in, and then the Parkway, you'll be able to, it'll totally surround the city of Wentzville and most of Mr. Swanson's district, or at least where most of Mr. Swanson's people live. Hope to get that done in the next year or two. This is something I talked about a little bit. You know, in the history of this county, most of the roads that were built by MoDOT or the county or the federal government, they went east-west because people, the last 200 years, have been moving to the west. Highway in is one of those roads. In fact, you know, Highway in is the old Boonslick Road. Did you know that? Highway in is the old Boonslick Road, and yeah, it needs to be updated because people still do want to go west. But with all the subdivisions that have come out here in the last 60, 70 years, we've had to do a lot of north-south arterials. And that just gives you some idea of the road board projects that we've done, and a few more on the left hand there that we'll need to do in the next few years to allow people not only to get from St. Louis to St. Charles and Warren County, but to allow them to get to their homes when they get off those main interstate highways. County employment numbers, again, look very good. Unemployment rates, we're very lucky. Of course, we work real hard out here. This is interesting. It's the first time St. Louis City and County actually are both in decline when it comes to population growth and job growth. You can see that, and again, this doesn't mean Warren County and Lincoln County aren't going to pass us up, but that's a percentage of what they had the year before. Okay, and you can see that our job growth is actually faster than our population growth, which is good. And the population growth has slowed down a little bit the last few years, but that's okay. We'll be able to catch up on some of these roads maybe. And this is not the percentage, this is the actual share. So this, if you look at, this is the job growth in the region, you know, 3/4 of it's St. Charles County. Population growth, what, 55% maybe? A little more. Commercial development, a little bit less than in 2024, maybe because of tariffs, maybe because of other uncertainties in Washington, D.C. I think we've got some really big projects, including Mercy Hospital and some other things going on in the county. It's a good sign that people still see this as a possible destination. Senior tax relief. We had to go through a first bill, then we had to go to Jefferson City and get the bill clarified, which it was. Then we had to figure out how to handle all the paperwork on this, including all the changes that had to be made to our computer system. A lot of people worked very hard to make that happen. There was a few problems. One of our vendors didn't come through for us, caused a challenge with online payments, but everybody by the last week of the year was able to pay online. And you know, we will be having some discussion with that vendor if they in fact want to be hired for the next year. Remember, if you want the senior citizen, you do have to renew every year. But once you've done it the first time, the second time's pretty easy. It's just kind of a check a box and sign it, okay? There's going to be a tax freeze on the ballot on April 1st. There's a lot of constitutional challenges to it. It appears that the courts are not going to do anything. They're going to let it go to the people, and it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Only thing I'm concerned about is if people vote to freeze, and then some judge tells us 6 months from now it was all for naught. You know?
That one's not working either.
Are they not what? Are they asleep back there? Well, I can talk about the master plan. As you know, we just about have that ready to take to the master plan commission, and then they will send it to you. We'll have a lot of discussion before our final plan is adopted. And so, can I do it now? We don't have a whole lot to do with our schools except protect them with our SROs, but I'm very proud of the way our schools have improved over the last year. And of course, this kind of shows where they are in relation to the other schools in the region. Fort Zumwalt has just made a lot of progress. A lot of those, a couple of years ago, Francis Howell, Zumwalt, and Wentzville were all kind of up there at the top. But you know what it was? It was because those schools in St. Louis County closed down during COVID. And the kids, had to learn from home, and some of them just didn't learn. They didn't do as well on the test. So it's kind of back to more where it was, but Zumwalt should be applauded. Marijuana sales tax, Supreme Court said the way it was written and put in the Constitution, we can tax only in the unincorporated areas. We've got five or six different county taxes, and every county tax up until now has been a county-wide tax. But of course, if they had put this in a statute, we could not only could we point to those precedents, but if the courts ruled against us, we could go and try to get it changed. But now, it's in the Constitution. I'm not sure how we're going to get it changed, and we'd have to go back and ask the voters, and I'm not sure how interested they would be in doing that. We are talking to some of the growers about donating some of that money back to help fund these SROs in the schools in the unincorporated part of the county, the elementary schools. We were planning on using the marijuana tax to continue to do that. We've had federal funds the last 3 years, but next year we'll need to find another way to fund them. Emergency shelter funding, again, it was so cold here the last 2 months. We had organizations that were almost running out of money, and we were only halfway through the cold season, so we went ahead and put a little extra money in the budget for them to hopefully get them through the rest of the year. East-West Gateway Regional Board, that's the regional board that divides up the federal grant money for St. Louis metro area. And votes on the council originally were based on population. And when it was created in 1965, the city of St. Louis had 3 times as many people as St. Charles County, and they gave St. Louis 3 votes, and they gave us 1. Later on, we got a second vote as we grew. The city which has been shrinking, still has 3 votes. So we think that's very unfair. We'll be trying to change the bylaws this year to take one vote away from the city and give it to St. Charles County. Mr. Elam serves on that board with me. I'm not sure it's really hurt us yet on any particular vote. They're not necessarily out to get us, but someday they may. So I think we need to fix that while we can. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? I would just note, the one thing that was really nice about the crime stats that you had in there, not only are those the lowest crime stats we've had in 10 years, those are the lowest crime stats in the region in the last 10 years.
And if you look the same, it's a national trend.
Which is a
It's
good
a
thing.
national trend. So, we shouldn't probably pat ourselves on the back too much, because but I don't think everybody's gone down as much as we have. And that's great, and we just need to maintain what we got and improve it if we can.
We appreciate the report.
Okay, thank you.
And congratulations to Mr. Swanson and Fort Zumwalt for leading the way.
Great middle school teaching.
It's those great 8th grade middle school teachers that make the difference. That'll get us to the consent agenda. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Consent agenda is approved. We moved the resolution up earlier, so that'll get us to bills for final passage, starting with Bill 5461.
Bill number 5461, an ordinance approving a supplemental agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the Josephville Road project.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none?
Bill number 5461, an ordinance approving a supplemental agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the Josephville Road project. Councilman Brazel. Councilman Hammond.
Yes.
Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bill 5461 passes. This is Bill 5462.
Bill number 5462, an ordinance providing for amendment of ordinance 25-082 for a supplemental appropriation relating to expenditure of the state and local cybersecurity grant program funds and execution of an intergovernmental agreement between St. Charles County and the Missouri Department of Public Safety, Office of Homeland Security.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5462, an ordinance providing for amendment of ordinance 25-082 for a supplemental appropriation relating to expenditure of the state and local cybersecurity grant program funds and execution of an intergovernmental agreement between St. Charles County and the Missouri Department of Public Safety, Office of Homeland Security. Councilman Hammond.
Yes.
Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel.
Bill 5462 passes. That wraps up bills for final passage. We'll move to bills for introduction. We have 4 tonight, starting with 5463.
Bill number 5463, requested by Michael Hurlbert, sponsored by Joe Brazel. An ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from A Agricultural District to C1 Neighborhood Commercial District per application RZ 25-14.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none, that'll move us to 5464.
Bill number 5464, requested by Mike Hurlbert, sponsored by Joe Brazel. An ordinance of the County of St. Charles, Missouri, approving the preliminary plat and final development plan for Mencher Farms.
Most of the talk tonight has been about the CID. Mr. Weber, do you want to come up and talk about the actual development?
Councilman Elam, I spoke about the development briefly during the public comments. I'm happy to answer any more questions that anyone may have, but I don't have any further comments.
Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. So that'll get us to Bill 5465.
Bill number 5465, requested by Ali Overschmidt, sponsored by Mike Elam. An ordinance accepting the verified petition, setting forth the findings of the St. Charles County Council and providing for the creation of a community improvement district to be known as the Trailside Farm Community Improvement District. The purpose of said district being to fund and build community improvements within the district, such as lakes, trails, parks, playgrounds, a memorial, traffic and road improvements, utilities, and other infrastructure.
Any questions or comments about this? Mr. Swanson?
Yeah, I want to clarify, we had a couple speakers talking about this being a tax and how would this work. This is an assessment just like an HOA. Now, I'm not saying I'm for this or against this, but I wanted to be clear. When you move into a subdivision, sometimes you don't understand what HOA assessments you have until that bill shows up. This is the exact same thing where you'll be getting another assessment on top of your normal HOA fees, which I do believe this community would also have an HOA fee as well. Yes. So basically you're just getting hit with 2 HOA fees to make it as clean and simple of what this CID would do. Is that?
Yes, that's correct. There would be a separate notice of assessment recorded with a recorder of deed so that each property owner would know what their CID assessment is.
Okay. I just want to make sure because everyone kept saying tax. This
Right.
isn't a
It
tax.
is not a tax.
It's an additional assessment.
Right.
And I don't like HOA fees either.
Mr. Elman?
Yeah, I've been against subsidies for a long time, but I never called the lack of a subsidy a bloodless solution. I congratulate you on that metaphor.
So just to be clear, this is only on the folks who would move into that subdivision if approved.
Yes, that's correct.
And how would it be paid? Do they pay it every year like they do an HOA fee, or would they get a separate bill that they pay every year for that?
It would be paid yearly for the duration of the CID, or at least until the amount of money owed under the district is paid off.
So it's slated for 27 years at this point, so if it's paid off early, it would go away early?
It could, correct.
Okay. Mr. Holland?
Yes, so the amount that they'll be paying would be the same every year? Is that correct or not correct?
It depends. So if the CID decided to do additional improvements in the future, let's say 15 years down the road, if they wanted to do additional improvements, then assessments could increase. But generally, up front, you have your world of costs, and then those are paid off by the same amount of assessments.
Thank you.
Mr. Elman?
But if they do additional improvements later on, the people who bought the lots get the vote.
Yes,
right?
I'm not.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have put that out into the world because that's not part of the plan.
I know, but in the event they did, it's not like the developer could reimpose it.
Right. So if there was an increase
continue to impose a tax, he'd have to get the people who also own the property.
If there were
of the people who own the property to approve it.
Correct. If there were an increase in the special assessment, that'd have to be approved by a petition, approved by a majority of the owners, which would be hundreds of people.
Majority of the acreage, probably, right?
Correct.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir. That'll move us to Bill 5466.
Bill number 5466, requested by Tim Baker and Joe Brazel, sponsored by Tim Baker and Joe Brazel, an ordinance amending the 2026 budget adopted as ordinance 25-082 as amended by providing supplemental appropriations to the budget of the Transportation Planning Fund.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I'd like to motion to table this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That bill is tabled. That gets us to announcements and miscellaneous. Mr. Swanson?
Yes, if I could have just a little leeway with the rest of the council here, I want to address 2 different items. One in particular, there is another drug that's out there called kratom. The council had this brought back many years ago, I think 5 years ago, is that correct, Joanne? Roughly?
Right.
And this is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. They're putting it into gummies and everything else. We're seeing it come into schools and all. And I would like permission to work with our counselor and also executive branch and chief to draft something. Lake St. Louis just passed Bill 5043 and 5044 regulating the sale of these products. And a lot of them, our municipalities are doing this. So where is it going to end up? At the county stores. And I think we need to get in line with our municipalities to stop this drug that's going on. So if I have permission to work with those individuals, I'd appreciate that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Chair. Aye.
Thank you. Second one. Florida just kind of made a lot of national news with their HALO law, which restricts the distance that people can be around our first responders. Now, the state of Missouri passed RSMO 574.207, which put in a HALO effect of 25 feet around all first responders. So firefighters, EMS, police, that they'll be given a verbal warning, and then if they don't, they can be arrested and charged with a misdemeanor. We do have it at the state level. I sent something to our attorney as well about this to work and get something in place. It's more of just codifying this within our county code versus just the state statute as well. So if I got a permission to work with that, with chief and then also staff as well, that'd be great.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And last, our winner of the I Voted sticker. I got to meet the family before the meeting, and I didn't realize I already had a connection with this family.
Of course you do.
And it's a very sad one. They had a little girl by the name of Felicity. Felicity was struck by an ice cream truck. And you may remember, we passed this at the county level. She lives over by Bear Creek subdivision. Horrible tragedy and all. And I didn't put two and two together until I met the mother, and she's like, I remember you because we started it in Wentzville, then we brought it to you because it being a health department countywide issue. So just want to add a little context to it. This family's gone through a lot. They're great patriots, and I don't think we could have chosen a better person.
I think it worked out very well. Well said. Mr. Baker.
Yeah, I was just wondering, could we get an update on the Airbnb ordinance that I know you've been working on, Rory?
Sure. So I'm still working with the department. We're still working on a draft. The department has been doing not so much a survey, but looking around to find alternative ordinances that are working in other places, and so we're still trying to put those together for
Do we have a
council
timeline?
review. My hope would be sooner rather than later. The draft that I'm working on right now, we could probably get a meeting with yourself and council member York.
Well, I invite Matt for that too. I know he's expressed interest in that ordinance. So.
Sure. So I'll try and reach out to you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. I'm getting a
Okay.
lot of calls, and it's ironic that this all of a sudden just came up. I don't know if Airbnbs are just going to ramp it in our county, but don't want to control it, but we need to figure out how to make it work. Because I personally wouldn't want to live next door to Airbnb, so I got to use that as a barometer of whether I think it's a good idea or not. So, thank you.
Anyone else? With that, I would thank everyone for coming and entertain a motion to dismiss.
Motion to dismiss.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Be careful going home.